Nick, did the Cavs erase any doubt that they are the favorites in the East, despite what these standings tell us?
Yeah, I mean, you said they played the best team in the East, and I was wondering, was it an inter-squad scrimmage?
Hilarious.
Because they're the best team in the East.
They're the best record in the East.
Listen, they don't have the best record in the East. They're right now going to struggle. I mean, they're going to get to around 50 wins, same as last year, by the way. But you watch, for them, there has to be an answer to the question if it's not Cleveland. And so the question, what has to go through your mind if you're trying to make the case is, like a former NBA GM who I have a ton of respect for, Bobby Marks, was trying to make the case to me on Twitter last night that there's reason to be concerned about the Cavs. Then tell me, if they're the question, who's the answer? Because I watched Toronto last night try to, OG Anunoby, rookie, you try to guard LeBron James. That's hilarious. Pascal Siakam, you guarded him and did a good job on him the last time you guys played when he went for 34 and 17. That didn't work out. All right, CJ Miles, you get a chance. LeBron looked like one of those cartoon characters when they put out the big steak in front of him with the saliva coming out when CJ Miles started checking him. So that's your triumvirate to go try to check LeBron James. So if it's not going to be them, who is it going to be? The Celtics? Well, if the Celtics were healthy, but they're not, and they're not going to be. The Celtics with Gordon Hayward and Kyrie and Marcus Smart, now that's a discussion. But that team has not existed but for 7 minutes all year. Philly? Listen, I think Philly is the toughest matchup for them, but you simply don't go in the NBA from not making the playoffs to winning your conference. That's never how this goes, unless, like, we saw the Celtics do it when they added KG and Ray Allen. That's an outlier. Usually there's a progression. Look at the progression the Thunder had. The Thunder went from not making the playoffs to facing to taking the Lakers to 6 in the first round, to the next year going to the Western Conference Finals against the Mavericks, to then making the finals. So who's the answer to the question if it's not Cleveland? You have LeBron playing offensively as well as he's ever played, and the point he made there is important. They have played 0 games this year with their actual lineup. So whatever we think they are right now, theoretically, and I believe they should be better once they are healthy, and George Hill should be back before the postseason. So, I mean, who are the favorites in the East? The team with LeBron has been the case for the last decade. See?
Just pause for silence. Nick Wright, you were right. That's something I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to teach you also.
Let me take it and I'll say it one more time, please.
Nick Wright was right about Cleveland. I was concerned. Jenna, you were concerned. And it's not as if we're not fans of LeBron's or fans of the Cavs. It was what was playing out in front of our eyes. I mean, multiple lineups. Kyrie, let's go back. Kyrie forces a trade. He wasn't happy. Forces a trade out of Cleveland. Man, LeBron hadn't played without no superstar like Kyrie. Like, how are they going to be able to get it done? And it's not our fault. Toronto, they are a better team. They're still just not as good as Cleveland. I mean, they got the best record at home. They got a great record on the road, 24 and 15. Their bench, it is deeper. The younger players, man, they are developing. But they still don't have no answer for the guy in Cleveland, in LBJ. And if he has a competent lineup with him, he has shown that you have to have an answer to him. And no one in the East has an answer to him unless it would be Philadelphia. And that would be not an answer to him. It would be Joel Embiid, who they wouldn't have an answer for. So no one in the East has an answer for LeBron. The only way you can fight that is to be able to have someone who is a once every generation type player in Joel Embiid. So to me, Toronto, these last 2 losses to Cleveland, these were critical. I mean, these are critical losses. And Nick, you and I were talking last night, and I just believe that a team that is trying to be special, and if Toronto, if their goal is trying to win an NBA championship, bring that championship to Toronto the first time, you question some of the judgment of their leaders.
I don't love what Kyle Lowry did. Kyle Lowry, I know you went to Villanova. I know you were part of what became this program. You are their biggest recruiting tool for 5 stars because you're the best pro they have.
Yes.
I get all that. You cannot be in San Antonio at a 9:20 East Coast tip-off for the national championship game the day before back-to-backs against Cleveland and Boston. And if you are going to make that decision, if you are going to say, I can be and don't worry about it, what was he, 5 points last night?
I had to steal you.
What you can't be is 2 for 11 with 5 points after that. Like, I saw it.
People won't be thinking about and looking about, but when you have the type of athletic maturity, like these 2 games, and Boston was only 2 games behind them going into last night's game.
With the tiebreaker, and you play them on a back-to-back tonight. Like, Boston ended up losing last night, which helps them to where they now have some breathing room for the 1 seed. But this all falls apart on you if at the end of the year, after this great season, oh, guess what?
Right.
We're not even the 1 seed. All this stuff. And I am not saying Kyle Lowry necessarily would have played better had he not been in San Antonio for the national championship.
We wouldn't have had to look at it.
But it was the worst game of the year for him. And you have talked about, CC, how because the roster is so new in Cleveland, these guys, aside from LeBron and Love and JR and Tristan, don't have the repeated history of beating these dudes in the head. And so they don't have that confidence. And some of the bench players on Toronto, they also don't have the feeling of these guys always beat us. This was an opportunity after you blew a game 2 weeks ago, and your team leader is in San Antonio the night before and goes for 5 points, worst game of the year. I don't love that.
To the Cavs erase all doubt that they're the favorites in the East last night?
Okay, so this is a tough question for me because you guys know that I have been a man on an island a bit, never doubting this. But now...
No, it's time for a full disclosure, Jenna.
Let me hear it,
I mean, there's not many times. You guys run the video. Just, run it so we can, kind of frame this moment. Nick wrong was right this time. I mean, we get on him when he's wrong. The people in Philly, zzz, okay? Other things, zzz. Yeah. The Cavs, are you worried, Nick? No. No one's playing tonight. Are you worried? No. JR just threw hot soup on the assistant coach. Are you worried, Nick? Nah, it didn't hit him in the face. The coach is taking a leave of absence. LeBron is the acting coach, Cris. I got to give it to him. I mean, he hung in there. I mean, I love the Cavs. Knicks have affected my love for the Cavs. I mean, that's my team. LeBron is my guy.
You're from Ohio.
But I was concerned.
Yeah.
Never along the way. He's like the LeBron meme, smoking a cigarette, just chilling. No, don't worry, Cris, no problem. So, yeah, I got to give it to you. What's it called?
Meme.
Yeah.
At least you didn't call it a meme, as some have. All right, listen. So thank you, CC. I appreciate that. The reason I had never been concerned and the reason now people are going to start to agree is because no one has ever been able to answer this question. Who's checking LeBron? Who's slowing him down? What's the Raptors' plan? Because the Raptors' plan last night was a rotation of Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, and CJ Miles. That didn't work out so well for him. No. I'm just curious. Like Philly, you guys know how much respect I have for the Sixers. But we've seen a team that now, by the way, think back on that Thunder team. That had not 1, not 2, but 3 league MVPs on it. And what'd they do their first year in the playoffs? Got bounced in the first round. What'd they do their second year in the playoffs? Made it to the Western Conference Finals. What'd they do their third year in the playoffs? Finally broke through to get to the finals, only to get beat by this guy, by the way. So the idea that Philly's going to go from no playoffs to winning the conference, basically unprecedented. We worried about Boston. Man, injuries happen. Maybe it's a different story for some if Gordon Hayward doesn't break his leg, if Kyrie doesn't deal with the knee injury. But those things happened. Like Gordon Hayward's injury happened immediately. So what we had all along was the worst-case scenario, second-best player ever, at the peak of his powers, playing all 82 games, amazingly, saying, hey, doesn't matter who I'm playing with. Doesn't matter who the other guys are. I'm going to find a way to make it work. And what I cannot have, but I know will happen, is people will do revisionist history on this.
Oh, they'll forget.
All year long, I heard about how good Toronto was. All year long, I heard about how dangerous Boston is.
Toronto had me nervous.
All year long, I heard Milwaukee's coming, Philly's coming. But when the Cavs go through the East in 13 or 14 games, as they have each of the last 3 years, the narrative will instantly flip to, well, of course they did. The East is trash. That was not what folks were saying all year. Folks were saying this is the year it doesn't happen. This is why LeBron's going to leave Cleveland. So now, are the Cavs the favorite? Of course they're the favorite. They've been the favorite. But it's not because of the other teams. It's because of that guy. It's because they have that guy. And until that changes, they will continue to be the favorite.
Then let me ask you a quick question, yes or no. Does LeBron stay on this team anything shy of winning the title?
I do not believe so. I think the relationship with Gilbert's too fractured. I think they have to win the championship for him to even consider staying with Cleveland.
He's right again.
All right, that's twice, so that he's done.
All right, there we go. Appreciate you.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.